And thank you, Cresta. As on cue, we're going to be recording this so that we can issue this out if anybody wants to review. Typically, the recording transcribes this for you also. So we're excited. We see we have Ohio here, we have Nebraska here, we have California, we have Alabama, we have Texas. Great showing of communities around the country. We're excited. As you'll see, Project Optimizing Office is an amazing project, and we're excited about being able to help them find a new home for their distribution center and really putting them in touch with some great communities to help them make that decision. And the purpose of this is to really open up and find out anything and everything about the project that's going to help them make a successful decision and their project successful, and you as a community to be able to identify and say, hey, this is a good company that we should put a presentation or a proposal into and try to court to our community. Today's agenda, we're going to do a little brief introduction about us. We're going to do an overview of the project. We're going to meet the project. We're going to get right into just talking about the project and then opening up and going into our Q&A session to really get an in-depth knowledge about what the project needs and is looking for in a successful location. Should you be here, there are 4 types of people that we have joining us today. We've got our community clients. Those are beloved elite cities. I see a lot of them in here, and we always appreciate and have an innate knowledge on their offerings in their communities, and we enjoy putting them in touch with the projects. We have some communities that are kind of on the outskirts, taking a look at becoming a part of our Elite Cities network, which we always enjoy growing, and the larger we get, the better we can help projects. And I actually see 1 or 2 observing companies. We have a project live coming up mid-October. We just spent about an hour with them last night. They're from Shenzhen, China, and they're going to be doing some server manufacturing here in the US, and they're on a very short time frame also. So they're in here kind of just seeing how this process works. And then we've got some just observing communities that want to learn and see what motivates a company in their expansion and relocation process. You should already be muted. If you do have a question, and I feel like we need to go a little more in depth in it, put it in the Q&A box. And if I need to, I'll ask you to raise your hand, and then that'll put you at the top of the queue and I can open up your mic. And as I mentioned earlier, we are recording so that we can kind of go back and review this if we need to remember some information. Myself, Eric Kleinsword, I founded, and I'm excited about this. I've been flooded on LinkedIn with congratulations. It is our 30th year. It's hard to believe that we're celebrating that. Ashley, my daughter, has been our project manager for how many years now?
I think it's like 4, maybe coming up on 5. It's been a while.
Yeah. So great coordinator in terms of if you don't know Ashley, she is the project queen in terms of identifying, working with the projects and getting the information to and from them. And we've got Oscar. He is the CEO of Project Optimizing Office. And Oscar, thank you so much for taking your time today. You've been a great help in terms of communications and getting us information. And we hope to make this process very smooth and quick for you.
Thanks for arranging this call.
Absolutely. About GSLI, for those of you that are just in here learning about us, we are a site location firm that has helped communities and companies equally on both sides for over 30 years. Our network is called our Elite Cities Network, and they are allowed and get vetted all of our projects and make submissions on the ones that they want and feel that are appropriate for their community. We allow non-members to come in once every year to help us with submissions if we feel like there's a project that they can help with that our elite cities cannot help. Over the years, this is continuing to grow. 2,125 projects, 6.3 billion, 53,000 jobs, and 31.8 million square feet that our projects have secured over these years. For those that of you that have not, most of you have been into our portal. That's where our projects are housed. That's where you can find project optimizing office and make a submission on them. We currently have 58 active projects that we're working and helping find new homes for. And it's a free account that you can go in and take a look at the notes and information on each project and get a better understanding of them and find out if you do want to make a submission. Ash, if you could talk a little bit, give a high level perspective of Project Optimizing Office.
Yeah, so they're looking for 80 to 100,000 square foot facility, and they are on a quicker time frame. So 1 to 3 months, we would like to have a location picked and settled in. The facility will have about 50 employees in place, and he'll go more in depth about that later on in the presentation. They are looking for an existing building and interested in Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana, so that whole southern region down there.
Awesome. Yeah. And so we always like to give a little bit of project insight because we have 6 different lead pillars or lead methods in which we generate leads. And Oscar came through us through a connection with one of our corporate site locators that introduced us. And we developed that relationship through them and are excited about the time that they have spent with us, educating us about their project. And so we're excited about today. And without further ado, we're going to dive right in. We have, this is our Q&A session. Down on the bottom of your screen, there's a little Q&A with 2 bubbles. If you have a question that arises during our Q&A session, go ahead and throw it in the question and answer box. It'll get queued and we'll answer those in order for you. And no question is a bad question as long as it helps you make a determination if this is a good project for you in making a submission. So please, feel free to ask whatever questions you have so we can get them answered. If you can, in the Q&A box, ask your question, then also provide your name and location so we know where and help Oscar identify how to answer the questions that'll help you get the answers you're looking for. So Oscar, let's just start off. Let's talk about you. Give a brief introduction about your role with the company and in this process of site location, and kind of just a large overview of the project and what you're looking for.
My name is Oscar, and I'm one of the founder of the company, along with 2 other gentlemen. I am in charge of the whole operation. We are looking to expand our footprint and then have quicker access to customers in the Midwest. We have 2 locations currently, one in California, one in East Coast, Virginia. But accessing to customers we have in Central US takes a little longer than we want. Ideally, we want to access customers within 2 days. And then obviously between California and Virginia, that's more than 2 days.
Absolutely. So in the process, do you take this information back to a team? Are you the ultimate decision maker? What's your exact role in this whole site location process?
Ideally, we want to get all the information and we want to share with the remaining shareholders and then make a final decision.
Perfect. So let's start off with motivations, because I know when we've worked with projects before, there's different motivations. You tipped on, that you're trying to get close to your customer base. Is there any other motivations that are driving your need for a new site?
I mean, the company in a growth mode. We started about 18 years ago. We've been constantly growing, and then along with that, we need additional manpower, additional space. And then we currently outgrew our current buildings that we currently have. We are occupying part of a 3PL, and then that's not helping with our current operation. We always prefer to operate our own so we can serve the customer quickly. And obviously being close to customer, somewhere in Central US, is gonna help with that.
So let me ask you that, because that's just kind of a feed on, a sub question of that. Does that mean that um, customer delivery or distribution to that customer, is that a pretty high mark on your bottom line in terms of evaluating the cost from your facility to the customer, and lowering that will help you maintain cost and profitability?
Correct. I mean, currently for those customers we have, in order to deliver within 2 days, we have to ship by second day air. So that's quite a bit of additional. And then we also have a large amount of inventory in major marketplaces, call it Walmart or call it Amazon. And then those inventory is going to come back to our facility that we're going to establish. And then we'll have quicker access. The inventory is going to be available for more customer instead of being locked up in one of these channels warehouse.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of a location, and let's say a building, because you're looking for an existing building, I know how quick your time frame is. Every day that you're not doing this, it's costing your company money. What are some of the must-haves in an existing facility? Is there any special requirements, docks, access to highway? What are some of the must-haves that?
I mean, an ideal building needs to have probably 80 to 100,000 square foot, somewhere around 10 docks, one drive-in. Obviously, I mean, since it's gonna be more of a distribution location, distribution center, it's gonna be normal. We don't need high power electric connection, but obviously we need reliable electricity source. Also, high-speed internet is key for us. And then having access to large labor pool.
Okay. In terms of the docks, do you paint a picture for me? Do you ship in the product and then store it and ship it out, or is it incoming and outgoing shipments?
Correct. I mean, a good majority of the product we distribute comes from overseas with containers, and then they will most likely come to ports, maybe in the Gulf ports, or in some cases may come to Long Beach and then rail from that location. And then they're gonna come into our docks and we're gonna offload the same day. And then as we have customer needs every day, like we currently have UPS and FedEx trucks waiting outside. As we process orders, we load those trucks and then they come and pick up at the end of the day. We also have customers we ship bulk, and then we have trucking companies coming and picking up the loads and leaving the same day.
So that kind of feeds right into question 3. Are there any other logistic needs that you have? Is there a desire for rail? Is that a mandatory? Is it not mandatory?
I mean, rail, closest to rail or closest to the port may be an advantage, but at the end of the day, the closest to end user is key for us. I mean, we don't want to be too far from UPS or FedEx hubs because we want them to be able to come and pick up within their cutoff period.
Okay, perfect. So outgoing distribution is more important than the incoming distribution.
Correct.
Or okay. So you talked about the jobs a little earlier. Our communities are always interested in the jobs because those are the people that are making economic impacts in those communities.
Yes.
Paint a picture. What type of jobs are you anticipating? I know there's a breakdown of 40 to 50 employees. I guess is that on a 1, 3, or 5-year period on the 50?
I mean, probably the first year we're gonna start with any labor force that we need to operate the warehouse. I mean, that will probably require 2 managers and then 4 to 6 supervisors, and then remaining will be warehouse operation team. And then probably as we expand our footprint in the building, we would like to bring some of the administration jobs as well. I mean, from that standpoint, it will be it would be important to have access to talent. I mean, maybe good colleges around, close to the cities. That way, we can hire good marketing people or HR managers or customer service people. That way, we can expand our footprint in that location.
Okay, perfect. And I guess that's a question circling back because you said high-speed internet's critical. Will you operate e-commerce out of this facility also?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
I mean because our operating system ERP system is cloud-based, and then everything is feeding to that cloud-based system, and the orders is gonna flow to the internet.
Okay, perfect. Now, Oscar, I know you've been taking a look and you brought to us some regions and states that you've had initial areas of interest. You've now introduced that really need to serve the Midwest. Would that allow your um, mind to open and say, hey, if the right community came to me with the right perfect building, perfect mix of whatever incentives, would that also help influence your decision, or are you really
Definitely, definitely. I mean, the key is, I mean, we currently between our East Coast and West Coast warehouses, we can access to about 75% of the U.S. population within 2 days. And if we can place this new facility strategically in central U.S., our coverage is going to be 95%. The less we ship by air, more with ground, that's going to be major saving.
okay? Perfect. Now, this next question is it's kind of interesting, but in terms of clusters, I think what's being asked here is, does it make sense if a community already has a large network of warehouse type companies that have free and open access to trucking? Is your fleet, independent and your own fleet, or do you third party source your fleet?
I mean, third party fleet mostly. But
Okay.
at some point, we may decide to have a couple trucks for our own distribution.
Okay. Now, in terms of the employees that you just described, um, all the states have different workforce training programs, but there are a lot of amazing resources out there to get employees trained. Would you have a need or desire to take advantage of any kind of special workforce training for your
I mean,
warehouse and
yeah,
personnel?
training is always welcome, but in wherever committee we join, we always do our own training as well. But we like to know the requirement from the communities as well.
Okay, perfect. You did talk about electrical. There's no special electrical needs from the facility. Um, And then I anticipate nothing with water or gas because
Right.
it's a warehouse, except for obviously it needs to be a air conditioned facility.
Correct.
Okay. Um, talk to me about you talked about containers. What types of volumes of inventory do you require? And in some states, the speed of moving that inventory can benefit you if it doesn't stay. So talk to me about the inventory that you hold and how fast does it turn in your facility?
I mean, our goal is to turn inventory within 2 months. I mean, we plan the first year. We plan on bringing to this facility somewhere between 180 to 240 high cube containers, and then we currently move close to 2 million units between two facilities, and then our estimate is about 40 to 50% will move to this facility.
Okay,
That will take
perfect.
some of the share we currently have from California, some from Virginia. So that way, because we are out of physical space in these buildings, so this new facility has to serve more of the customers.
Let me ask you this. On another project we worked with, they were a Bluetooth speaker manufacturer, and they actually said, on a 150,000 square foot facility, it would take more than a year to fill that facility and grow it into the, to be 100% filled. Do you
Sure.
see that type of ramp up that's needed with this?
I mean, our product size of we have very different product sizes. We have some small ones like the size of a Bluetooth speaker, but we also have furniture style product in large size. So with that, I think that won't be a problem. We expect to have that building about 75% filled within the first year.
Okay, perfect. And for those of you that are out there, you haven't been able to see the product because we're still under a NDA with Project Optimize and Office, but it is a beautiful product. Yeah, very useful product in the office space. And as Oscar mentioned, it's kind of a variety of different office furniture type products. So really, really nice stuff that you put out. The last question, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and pop them up there. I think we're doing a good job of getting most of the information out there, but if there are any specifics about your area or anything that you want to ask, go ahead and pop those in there. But Oscar, I know you've already talked, have been courted by a couple of cities and they've put incentives in front of you. We always talk to the community or the companies and say, hey, incentives are really used towards a tipping point, to help you get through the first year, second year, inventory, business taxes, investments, those types of things. From some of the incentives that you've seen and received, how important or what value will you put on those in terms of a tipping point between one area and another, since you are pretty flexible in your location choice?
I mean, in our previous conversation, the important issues were one, help with the labor force, right? And incentivize to hire high caliber, and then even on the warehouse level workforce. And then inventory taxes is not something we'll be too happy with because in our current facilities we don't have that. And then obviously with the amount of investment we plan on building in these communities, we want that to be in line, incentives to be in line with the investment we have in place, we plan on having.
Talk to me about that capital investment. What do you see as this project in itself? What's the investment you guys plan on making?
I mean, we've been looking at a couple buildings in the states we were talking about in central US. I mean, the building we were looking for, I mean, they are somewhere between 8 to 15, 16 million just for the building. And then once the building is acquired, depending on the building, we may need to some office build up. And then obviously we're gonna need racking, forklifts, computer, and then warehouse infrastructure investment. We expect that to be somewhere, depending on the type of or how perfect the building is, that may be somewhere between $1 million to $1.5 million additional capex investment besides the building.
Okay. What type of is there any equipment needs, business equipment like forklifts and things
Yes,
that
we're
would
gonna have to have obviously racks for storage. And then one of the most important thing for the building obviously is we need, sprinkler system for high power storage. In some states, we know that's not required, but we prefer to have that for our own good. And then we obviously need forklifts, two kinds: sit down, pallet jack, electric pallet jacks, and stand up double hitch forklift. And then we will need operators for these machineries as well.
Okay. Awesome. We have a couple questions in. Matt Davis, thank you for your question. I've enjoyed talking with Matt over the couple days as one of our former elite city members, and they're in Ohio. And so he's asked, so your primary target is in the southern US, but I heard you say the Midwest is the market you're trying to reach quicker. Would you consider siting this facility in the Midwest itself? I'm assuming just to be quicker to the customer base, if the right site.
As long as it's the right site, yes.
Okay. Awesome. I know, just for your knowledge, I know Matt's sent me a couple buildings that I'm more than glad to forward to you, and we can take a look at those. Oscar Cruz. Oscar Cruz, would you consider any location in Southern California, more specifically Imperial County? We have a variety of ready to go 100K to 108K square foot buildings located across the country. And probably ask them because do you already have one presence in California?
Correct.
And is that more Southern, Northern?
Actually, very close to Imperial County.
Oh, okay. You already have a customer there, Oscar. Perfect. All right. I don't see any other questions. If you do, please feel free to throw them in. Oscar, I think you've done an awesome job of providing information. Let's go into go ahead and feel free if you have a question, throw it in there, but let's move on to the submissions. Project Optimizing Office, we have a due date of submissions because of the cadence of this one. It is super quick. October 4th at 5 p.m. is when we need all of our submissions in by. Obviously, we've already started receiving submissions, and the quicker that we can get those, the better we can put those together for Oscar. And we will meet with them and go over those and pretty much individually set up some Zoom calls from those submissions to further dive in and learn about the communities, whether or not that's from the logistics standpoint, the actual buildings. We'd love to do a roadshow tour, if possible, on any of the sites that Oscar's interested in. If you're willing to sponsor him and bring him, let us know, and we'll make sure that's taken care of. And absolutely, if you know of any incentives of other companies that you've worked with in this space, go ahead and put those in the submissions or let us know. And if you need help making your submission, we're here to help you get into the portal and make that submission. It's about a 20 minute process. It's really quick and simple. It's not like a state submission that's going to take you, 3 days to get in. So you're going to receiving an email from us with this Zoom recording. We will be sending that out. And if you have any questions, post that. Contact us through Ashley at GSLIsolutions.com. She'll organize those questions. And if you haven't been in our portal, those questions are answered in the portal so that you can get your answers and other people can benefit from those answers also, if we feel that they're a public type question. So I think here is our contact information. We're going to ask, yep, thank you, Carissa. I always forget that one. If you plan on submitting on Project Optimizing Office, please throw it in there. All it does is it provides us your email so that we can send you a link to our schedule to get onto our schedule and talk and walk you through the process of getting submitted, and basically put you at the top of the queue when it comes to who we know to work with on the submissions. We'll leave that up for about 30 more seconds. And then if you need to reach out to us, here is our contact information. You can screenshot that. You can review it, pause it later whenever you review the recording. And with that said, amazing group of communities that have joined us today. I want to thank you because it is a time commitment to be able to set aside. We know you're busy running your cities, and we want to thank you for coming in today. Oscar, I know how busy you are, and carving out this time for us today has been really helpful. And I hope this will help get you some really good submissions and put you in front of some great communities that can help you be successful in your growth.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody, for joining the call.
All right. With that said, guys, until our next jam session, our next Prospect Live, or our next Master Series, we're saying goodbye and thank you for joining us. And until our next time, we're signing off and thanks a lot. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.